Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Esoteric Ramblings. I'm Jesse Arnold, and today I'm bringing you a mega massive Monday Madness for Monday, July 26th. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. My name's Jesse Arnold, and here on my channel, I like to ramble on about tons of stuff that interests me, which cycles mainly through comic books, movies, TV shows, TVs and movies based off of comic books, TVs and movies not based off of comic books, action figures, collectibles, and all sorts of other geekery. So if that's something that interests you, stay tuned. Monday Madness is a bit I do every Monday that is either a movie review or a toy haul review of different things I've gotten in over the past couple weeks. So this week is just packed with so much stuff. I'm just going to do a huge, massive, mega Monday Madness with a little bit of everything in it. So stay tuned, strap in, grab a snack. I don't know how long this is going to go, but I'm really going to ramble today about all sorts of stuff. And first up is the new Snake Eyes movie. So for now, I will start off with just a little bit of info on the movie itself, and I'll give you a spoiler warning before I get into the actual spoilers of the movie. So Snake Eyes is the next movie from Paramount in the G.I. Joe franchise. I believe they're considering it a soft reboot of the universe, kind of ignoring the original movies. At least, or the original live-action ones from a while ago that maybe didn't track as solidly as they could have. And I'll say this, I was really impressed or excited to see this movie. So I was really looking forward to this movie. I really liked the idea of casting Henry Golding as Snake Eyes. I was a little thrown off initially from the trailers, seeing that he spoke, considering Snake Eyes usually traditionally never speaks. But I am not so tied to the G.I. Joe lore as I am with like Lord of the Rings or X-Men or other things that it bothers me. I was more bothered by the fact that he had lips in his, sculpted mask in the first movie than I am about him speaking in this one. Andrew Koji plays Tommy, aka Storm Shadow, and a whole bunch of other great actors in this movie. And I'll say this: I think the acting in this movie is absolutely fantastic. I think for the kind of the action adventure comic book type movie that it is, I feel like the acting and performances are on par with what you would see in a Marvel movie of similar fare. I think the art style and the art direction, the set production, like all of this stuff looks really great. And I enjoyed the movie as a whole, but there are a few things that left me disappointed. And I guess with that, I will put up my spoiler warning now. So if you don't want to see spoilers for Snake Eyes, stop watching now and check my description bar below. I'll try to put down breakdowns of when spoilers end. So if you want to see different things, you can skip around in the video. So spoilers for Snake Eyes starting now. Like I said before, I'm not super tied into the origins of the comics. I don't remember the show enough. I watched it regularly as a kid. I just know that Snake Eyes never talked. He occasionally was running around with a wolf, and he and Scarlet seemed to be really good friends. And coming into this movie, I knew they were going to be changing things because they actually have an Asian actor playing Snake Eyes, which is the first time. I think he's always been kind of the typical white kid ends up in Japan and ends up becoming a ninja story, kind of like with Danny Rand in Iron Fist. Not necessarily the same places, but similar concepts. So it was cool to see Henry Golding, who I liked in Last Christmas. He was great in The Gentleman. There's two, I'm sure I've seen him in something else, but those two specifically, I really liked his performance. So I was excited to see him as Snake Eyes. Some of the problems I had with the movie are all about the storytelling. I think they make Snake Eyes out to be a real jerk in this movie. a horrible thing happens to him in his past, where we never actually learn his real name. And I thought it was a little corny how he took the name Snake Eyes, so I apologize to any diehard fans if it's similar to what they did in the comics or his real origins. I apologize, but I always thought it would come from a cooler place rather than some bad guy who had loaded dice that always rolled to Snake Eyes to determine whether or not he was going to kill his opponent, a la Two-Face with his double-sided coin, except he always knows these are going to roll Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes as a kid knows his father gets killed by this guy. He doesn't know why, doesn't know what's going on. And he takes that name to be his calling card, his identity. And then it jumps to 20 years later, and they do the thing with movies that I don't like. Pick a year. Pick a year you're setting your movie in. The clothing and the technology are going to date your movie worse, or far more worse than you committing to a year on that screen. I hate it when they say present day, unless it's a thing where they're established a timeline and they keep jumping back and forth. So they do that thing 20 years ago and then present day, and I don't like it because in 5 years present day is going to look maybe not drastically different, but 5 years ago from now looked different than it does now. 10 years ago looked drastically different. Anyway, trope aside, he ends up getting, it jumps to 20 years later, and he's just drifter from town to town, making money by fighting people until he wins, and until no one bets on him anymore, and then he moves on to the next town. And then they did a thing where, someone comes in, offers him, information on who killed his father and why, and what was all that was all about. And so we get a revenge plot. We get avenging his father's death, which I could get behind. But then he's like, you're going to start at the docks. So then he's at the docks, and then if you've seen the trailer, you see the whole thing where he's with this other guy, Tommy, and they kind of get, which I don't even know why he's there. Like, they don't establish who they are to each other and in this business very well until after the fact. And then there's the whole scene in the trailer we saw where the bad guy gives Snake Eyes the gun, tells him to, kill this guy to prove his loyalty, and he doesn't. Big fight breaks out, and it's a really cool action sequence. They eventually get away, and you realize they're now on this jet with Tommy, aka Storm Shadow, is taking them back across to Japan, because he's going home to his clan's family. And he gives this whole convoluted story about his uncle or his cousin wanted to kill him because he was the heir to the clan, so he exiled him, but he was working for him in disguise. Like, it didn't add up to... That was the convolutedness of it. It just got really choppy with what was going on. Now, I liked the acting and what they were presenting us, but just some of the story beats didn't track. And then, you meet the head of security, this Akiko character, who was cool. She was very, suspicious of Snake Eyes and all of this stuff. And eventually he tells her this story about losing his father, like halfway through the movie or more, and she eventually flips to be just completely trusting him. It didn't feel very earned. And you find out Snake Eyes is actually working for the Yakuza guy who was Tommy's cousin, and he's trying to infiltrate the clan, which was I was like, okay, so he's infiltrating this clan for some reason. Maybe the clan's really bad, but long story short, the clan is good. The Ashikagi clan is a good clan. They have this weird sacred gem that fell out of the sky that has the power of the sun, and their whole promise was they would protect it so no one would use it, and they would never use it. And the whole twist is that Snake Eyes has to steal this to deliver to the Yakuza guy. He does it. He's like, well, this isn't my fight. goes in to collect his revenge, decides not to take revenge on this guy, and then goes back, realizes after all this has happened that he made a mistake, and goes to like try to apologize, even though he was clearly betraying Tommy and all these people this whole time. And another one of my least favorite tropes and things in movies is, it says that 4 weeks later at the beginning, when he starts working for this guy that's going to give him this information about his dad, it says 4 weeks later and he's on the docks. So he's only been working there a month. And I don't know how long into that timeline he met Tommy. But somehow they became good enough friends that he felt like he didn't deserve to die, which is fine. But then he's spending days with him at the clan house, the castle, the fortress, and all this stuff as a spy. Like, he's there as a spy. But I'm supposed to believe they've built up this really close, tight friendship, even though it's all based on a lie. It's kind of like in X-Men First Class. My biggest problem with that is Professor X and Magneto form this like lifelong friendship rivalry in the course of a week or two. The way that movie plays out, and I just don't buy it. Like, friendships take longer than that to develop and build, to the point where you just can't just cut them out of your life and move on. So this whole betrayal thing, and then he comes back, and then Storm Shadow's big sin is that he uses the stone to defeat the guy he was angry at the whole time. Which, he's not supposed to use the stone, but like, I feel like Snake Eyes did a much bigger betrayal, but because Tommy used the stone and it didn't even kill the guy, he's like exiled basically, and or turned on by the rest of the clan. And Snake Eyes doing what he did, it didn't feel like a good guy. He felt like a jerk who kind of stumbled into working with good guys. Baroness and Scarlet show up, and they're in there for a little bit, and it was kind of cool. Scarlet felt a little forced, but I don't know. I will definitely go see whatever they put out next for it. Because I like the performances. It's just the storytelling, the plot. And like I said, I'm not basing this on my opinion of the comics or anything else, because I've never read those. To really have a strong opinion about the origin being changed. It just feels like I didn't feel like rooting for Snake Eyes through the movie. I felt like rooting for Storm Shadow. And then his one thing completely turns him around. And I don't feel like Snake Eyes got fully redeemed to me as an audience member. So I'm going to give Snake Eyes, I'm going to give it a strong C+, maybe a B-, but more C+ rating in my mind. That said, I probably will buy it. I will watch it again. But yeah, and I'll probably get upset about it down the road. We'll see. Because I keep wanting G.I. Joe to land and make good. And there's a lot of potential in this movie, and they didn't quite get it. So with that said, that's the end of my spoilers for Snake Eyes. So now I will show off a couple figures or things that I got. Let's see, where is it? Where'd they go? So I had a pre-order on Megalopolis last year for their remaking of the Barnyard Commandos, which I don't think I ever had any as a kid, but I wanted some of them. And I recently found one. I don't even know the character's name. I have not taken the time to look it up yet, but I got one of the sheep Barnyard Commandos with kind of the jet top and the bars there on his shoulder, to go with my retro stuff. These are, it's a cool concept, but it's not, they're not the most exciting toy, as far as like action figure collectability. They do look cool. They're definitely unique and different. I believe it was the sheep versus the pigs. And yeah, so there it is. I think at $20 for this used at a show, I think that's going to be good for my Barnyard Commandos collection. Just the one, just to have something there. Maybe if I find one of the pigs down the road for not $20, I might get one just to have one of both sides represented. And we'll throw back to another Battle Beasts, the giraffe. Again, like the bear I got recently, the hologram insignia has been worn off or fallen off, but it was just really cool to find a much more unique character with the big neck and everything. So there's that. So with that, I will now go into another movie I recently watched, Jolt, on Amazon Prime, starring Kate Beckinsale and some other people. I feel like this movie kind of came out, and I saw the trailer a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know what to make of it. I'm like, it's Kate Beckinsale and Stanley Tucci. I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I watched it, and I actually really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be... I was hoping it wouldn't, but I felt from the trailer it was going to be more like tawdry and, you know, whatever. But it was really funny. It was great action. I think Kate Beckinsale did a great job in this role. It could have easily been super corny and just like raunchy or whatever, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's only an hour and a half, so it moves really quick and it gets through the story, and I really liked it. I won't give any spoilers on this movie other than minor spoiler warning. If you look it up, you're going to see this on the poster on the site. Susan Sarandon's on the poster, and it was completely unnecessary. There was no reason to put Susan Sarandon on here other than to get someone who's a Susan Sarandon fan to watch this movie, because she's in it for like 5 seconds, and not quite 5 seconds, but not very long. Jolt on Amazon Prime was really enjoyable, a lot of fun, and I'll leave it at that. So check it out if you have Amazon Prime, and enjoy that movie. All right, go to another figure here. I believe this is from Toy Biz. I don't know. I'm not that concerned with the details. Maybe it was a Happy Meal thing somewhere. I don't know. I can't find the imprint on the figure for company info, but I got a Brood drone with the flappy wings, chompy teeth. I got the Queen Build-A-Figure, or whatever it was, way back up over there somewhere, and she's clearly much larger than this guy, so, it was nice. It's nice to add just a generic Brood drone to it, so I might try to find another one of these to kind of army build a little bit, I guess. And since we're on an X-Men vibe there, I did get... it was not a complete in-box, which I'm not that worried about because it's just going on my shelf right back here. It is the Rogue from the Famous Couples 2-pack Age of Apocalypse Rogue, which she has a very Disney villain look to her sculpt on this face. Not much action going on in this action figure. I think it's shoulders, legs, and a head, and that's it. So there's no elbow joints, no knee joints. It's pretty much a stand there and look pretty figure. But it's going to go on the Rogue shelf back over there. And it'll be a nice juxtaposition with the Marvel Legends Hasbro Rogue that's coming out later this year. That said, I'm going to jump into my thoughts, and I'm not going to do a deep dive into this because I don't want to spoil it. There might be some spoilers, so I will put a warning up now. For He-Man, nope, not He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelation. Right here I've got the action figures. Moss Man's up here behind Evelyn somewhere. And then I've got the classics, Filmation style Sorceress, and the classics Teela right here. Warnings for Masters of the Universe Revelation start now. I first became aware of this show, I think, about 2 years ago, like most everyone else, when Kevin Smith announced that he was going to be working on this project with Netflix. And I was excited because I enjoy most, not all, but many things Kevin Smith does. And I figured him being involved with it, was, I didn't know how strongly involved he was going to be. But I mean, he's credited as writer for, I believe, most of the episodes. And I did get to watch them all. I'm going to have to watch them again because I was not feeling good this week. So I think I might have dozed off here and there in places. But I think the first episode does a really good job of kind of putting a more realistic twist on the show I watched as a kid and making a lot of the elements of that show have meaning. And just did a really powerful thing at the end of that first episode, which I thought was really cool, that sets up the story for the rest of the season, or the series. And I'm going to try not to get into specific details about it, but it does shift to be a Teela. It is a Teela-driven series, which I'm perfectly fine with. She's always a character I have liked, one of the characters I've liked most on that show, along with Battle Cat and Orko and the Sorceress. Those have always been the four characters I've enjoyed the most. And like G.I. Joe, I am not as tied into all of the other stuff that's come out over the years that's gotten really in deep to them. So I have my childhood fondness of the toys and the cartoon series as a kid, and I missed out on the 2000X stuff. I just wasn't able to watch that. I hear good things, and hopefully someday I'll get to watch it. But I just haven't gotten into it yet. So this was kind of fun to see a new take that's not supposed to be a direct sequel to the cartoon from when I was a kid. It's kind of its own thing. And so I was okay with the concept of He-Man maybe not being the main focus of the show. And that's fine. I think that's fine. I mean, it's not called He-Man. It is called Masters Universe Revelation, so it's not He-Man centric. He's not the titled hero. But each episode kind of dives a little more into some of the different characters in the series. And like I said, Teela is kind of the narrative force. She's the driving force of the story. But you get to see a lot about some of these other characters, and I think it's really cool and really powerful, some of the things they did in this show. I'm really looking forward to watching it again. I'm sure if you want to know a lot more about it, you can check out my friend's podcast / YouTube video, Legends of Grayskull. They did a Revelation Eve live broadcast last Thursday night, which I joined in on for a little bit. And they talked to a lot of people who are really deep into the community, and they had a great time. So I'm sure they'll be having their reviews and discourse about it in due time. But as for me, over here at Esoteric Ramblings and Jesse Arnold myself, I really enjoyed the show. I loved the animation style. I loved all the voice cast. I thought it was really cool, and I'm really, really excited to see the second half of this, which I think is late this year or sometime next year. I'm not sure when it comes out, but I'm really looking forward to it. As much as I'm enjoying the Transformers animation series on Netflix, I feel like this show gave me a lot more meat, a lot more stuff to dig into, and each episode felt more substantial than the Transformers shows. Not that I think the Transformers show is bad, I just think this Master show was better at certain things. So yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up. I give it an A, a solid A, and really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what's going on next, and check out the other characters in the line as they come out figure-wise. So, yeah. And that brings me back to figures, so we'll jump in on these last 2. Coming from a series I don't enjoy the movies, and because the figures don't look enough like the actress that played the character in the movie, I'm okay having them on my shelf as just some sort of alternate iterations of them. I don't think they're very good figures in general. Very limited articulation, awkward poses, and sculpts. So I'll just bring them out here. Is the Anna Paquin Rogue in her civilian clothes. and the Anna Paquin Rogue in the team uniform that never actually happened in the first movie. So these are both from the 2000 Fox X-Men series. She's got, the regular one has knee articulation and some foot articulation. But her legs, there's no hit, like you can rotate the legs left or right, but I think this figure is even so tight maybe they don't move. And her arms have lots of weird posing. It's not very good for posing. It's pretty much just going to be a static, straight up pose. The uniform one has a little bit more in knees and ankle joints, elbow joints and whatnot, but again, it's going to be a pretty static pose. But since Rose is my favorite, I'm going to use them just to fill out my Rogue shelf over here. Okay, I am getting really close to 30 minutes here of recording, and I will segue into one last movie to talk about real quick. I watched Slacks on Shudder with my friend Tyler last weekend, and it is a horror movie where a pair of jeans starts to go on a killing spree in a mall type clothing line store. You know, I'm not saying it's the Gap or Old Navy, but it is that kind of a store, and it was funny, but not goofy. It's from some of the producers of Turbo Kid, which is a movie I highly recommend. My friend Tyler shared that with me a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed Turbo Kid. So when I saw they were the producers behind this, I thought it's going to be corny in the way that Turbo Kid was corny, but there's going to be a sincerity and genuineness to elements of it that made the movie work. My buddy and I just had a good time laughing watching it, and just kind of the ridiculous premise of it, and the story they had involved with it. So yeah, there's another non-spoiler review like Jolt. I give this a solid. I give it a solid B, because it was entertaining, wasn't fully horror, but the elements were horrific. But it was more funny. Like what was the other one I watched recently? Was it Werewolves Within? Based off the video game, which I didn't know was a video game until I watched the movie. So yeah, a little more funny with horror elements, but not a straight up comedy, if that makes sense. So, all right, that is it for my epic Monday ramble. Snake Eyes movie review, Jolt review, Masters of the Universe opinions, and mini review on Slacks on Shudder, and a couple of action figures and collectibles to round out this week's Monday Madness. So, with that, I think I'll call it a day. Have a great night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is in your neck of the woods when you watch this movie. Or maybe you're not in the woods, maybe you're in your city, or out on some rolling plains or desert, wherever you might be. May you have a great rest of your day and week. And I'll catch you next time with hopefully on-time comic review this week. And we'll hopefully get my Bad Batch up soon when I get a chance to watch that. So, thanks for watching. As always, ramble on.